He who controls others may be powerful, but he who has mastered himself is mightier. Have you ever noticed how some people always get their way without seeming to try? It's not luck, it's not charisma, it's not even intelligence. It's understanding a principle almost no one does. People only manipulate what you allow to be manipulated, from relationships to the workplace, to social media interactions, to the smallest day-to-day exchanges. Manipulation is everywhere. And it succeeds because most people give away their power before the manipulator even needs to do anything. Think about it. Have you ever agreed to something you didn't want just to avoid conflict? Or explained yourself endlessly to someone who was clearly twisting your words? Or felt guilty for setting a boundary because they might be upset? All of these are openings. All of these are opportunities for manipulation. And once you recognize them, you can close every door. Let's start with the most fundamental truth. Manipulation is emotional leverage. Manipulators feed on feelings, fear, guilt, shame, obligation, desire to be liked, desire to be needed. If you can recognize which of your emotions they're trying to use, you neutralize them instantly. Notice it. When someone makes you feel anxious, guilty, or defensive, they're not attacking your logic. They're attacking your nervous system. They're trying to short-circuit your ability to think clearly. So how do you stop it? Step 1. Emotional awareness. Ask yourself, why do I feel this way right now? Did this person do something to me? Or am I reacting to a story I've been telling myself? Manipulators often rely on your autopilot reactions. The moment you pause, the moment you notice, the moment you step outside the emotional trigger, you've already regained control. Step 2. Stop over-explaining. Have you noticed how the more you try to justify yourself, the more manipulators push? Every sentence you speak is ammunition. Every explanation is an invitation. Smart people say just enough. They enforce boundaries without debate. They don't justify their worth. A practical example. A coworker tries to get you to take on extra work by saying, "I really need your help. You're the only one who can do this properly." A typical reaction is to apologize, over-explain your workload, and try to make them feel guilty for asking. A manipulator planned for this. A smarter reaction is, "I'm not able to take this on right now. Period. No explanation needed. Done." Step 3. Understand the language of influence. Manipulators often don't even speak directly. They hint, they imply, they suggest. They rely on ambiguity and your own assumptions. They might say, "Some people wouldn't mind helping more," or "I guess you don't care as much as I do." Notice how this works? They never said you must do this, yet you feel pressure. That pressure is exactly what they want. To counter this, respond with clarity, call it out, name it. "I notice you're implying I should do something. I'm choosing not to." Just naming the manipulation drains its power. Step 4. Control your availability. Manipulators often operate on access. The easier you are to reach, the easier you are to influence. The most subtle form of manipulation is when someone tests how much they can get from you without resistance. Limit your availability. Protect your attention. Because your attention is the only real currency manipulators care about. Step 5. Learn the power of silence. Manipulation thrives on reaction. A manipulator will say or do something and watch your response. The moment you react, defend, justify, or apologize, they've won. Silence is a neutralizer. It forces them to confront the reality that you are not emotionally available to be used. Step 6. Pattern recognition. Manipulators aren't creative. They're predictable. Once you learn to recognize patterns, you see them coming. Do they guilt trip, gaslight, flatter excessively, withdraw affection, make threats that aren't real? Notice the pattern, predict the behavior, and respond strategically. Real-life example. A friend repeatedly borrows money without returning it. The pattern shows up every month. If you respond emotionally or give excuses, they continue. If you enforce a boundary consistently, "I'm not lending you money anymore," the manipulator loses leverage. Step 7. Internal validation. Manipulators thrive on people seeking external approval. If your sense of value comes from others, approval, praise, attention, you will always be vulnerable. Stop negotiating your self-worth. Know your value independent of anyone's opinion. If you feel respected inside, you cannot be controlled outside. Step 8. Detach from obligation. We've been socialized to feel obligated. I should help. I should say yes. I should compromise. Manipulators exploit this. They rely on the fact that you've been trained to carry others' needs over your own. Learn to ask, am I doing this because I want to or because I'm afraid of their reaction? Act only from choice, never from obligation. Step 9. Use selective disclosure. The more someone knows about your fears, desires, weaknesses, the easier it is to manipulate you. Smart people share carefully. They control the narrative about themselves. They reveal enough to be human, but never enough to be vulnerable. Step 10. Practice mental rehearsal. The people who resist manipulation the best anticipate scenarios in advance. They ask themselves, if X happens, how will I respond without emotion? Mental rehearsal strengthens self-control. It makes manipulation ineffective because you are no longer reacting. You are executing a plan. Step 11. Don't personalize everything. Manipulation works because you take it personally. Remember, the manipulator's behavior is about their need for control, not your worth. Detach the personal emotion. See it as a strategy, not a judgment. Step 12. Combine observation with patience. Manipulators push and test limits. They'll test small boundaries before attempting larger ones. The person who understands this watches quietly, takes note, and responds strategically rather than jumping into emotional reactions. When you combine awareness, silence, boundaries, and self-control, manipulation loses its grip. You're no longer a target. You are untouchable. Because manipulation is a game of leverage, and when you refuse to play on their terms, they have no leverage left. Imagine walking into your next conversation knowing exactly which triggers to ignore, which words to speak, when to remain silent, and when to enforce your boundaries. How different would your life look if no one could pull your strings? How different would your relationships, your career, even your family dynamics be? The people who understand these principles don't need confrontation to win. They don't need to shout, argue, or manipulate in return. They simply control themselves. And controlling yourself is the ultimate counter-manipulation. It's not easy. It requires discipline, awareness, reflection. But it works. And once you internalize it, you're no longer at the mercy of the cleverest manipulator in the room. Remember, manipulation is only possible when you give permission. Stop giving permission. Stop giving energy. Stop giving access. And suddenly, no one can manipulate you again.